Hi, welcome to Talk Back Live, a show that gets you involved in live conversation and sports with Brian Camp on Sports Update, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And now here's your host, Frank Allan.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant night to each and every one of you in your different time zones around the world and across the country. And here we are once again. It's a Thursday, another Thursday. And of course, we're here for a whole full hour. By the way, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live. Right now, as we look at the time, it's 8 p.m. on the East Coast, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. It's Friday morning, 1 a.m. in London town and 3 a.m. in Israel. Of course, it's 10 a.m. in Tokyo, Japan. And we're here for another Thursday. And we're coming to you live from New York City because that's where we originate. And we bring you this show each week, Talk Back Live. We get together and, of course, we all bond together. And by the way, before we go any further, we want to wish you all a happy New Year. And this is our first show of the new year. So we hope that you stay with us. And if you're around us, that's good. You've been here for a long time. Welcome to another year. For those of you who are here for the very first time, you're here just in time too for a brand new show, a brand new year. Let me tell you how it goes, and you can be part of it too. See, I get the show started by doing what I do right now and get conversation going, get it all going. And while I'm doing all of that, you can get a chance to participate anytime you like, even right now. If you have a keyboard in front of you and your computer or your telephone, or even your iPad or your tablet, or any kind of device that you use with a keyboard, all you have to do is just let your fingers do the walking on the keyboard. Find the letters that you want to type in. Whatever you have to say it, and I'll see you right there on the big screen. And of course, I will entertain all of your thoughts and ideas because that's what the show is all about. It's conversation, free exchange of opinion and ideas. We thank you so much for being along with us. And if you're a first-time viewer of the show, we also like you to know that we come on 3 different places. We're live on Facebook, on YouTube, and Instagram as well. So you can pick any 3 of those sources and you just can't lose. And we're all around the world. No matter where you go around the world, we're right there. As long as you're in an area where it's good hotspot and you have fantastic Wi-Fi, you can pick us up right there. Anywhere in the world, I don't care, even out of the country, and out of this country, anywhere, we can do that, right? And so we want you to do is to stay in touch with us by telling all of your friends about it, especially if you're on Facebook. You're watching us on Facebook. Tag your friends. You can do that. Tag your friends. Bring them on the New Year celebration right now. Let them know that we're out here. And when they see that tag, they'll know it's coming from you. And what they'll do is they'll click on to that instant message that you have sent them, that tag that you have sent them, and it brings them directly to us. And of course, if they like what they see and they like what they hear, of course, they can come along and be part of us as well, maybe all year round, just like you. And if you're watching us on Facebook, please, again, if you don't want to tag all of your friends, at least some of them, but the more the merrier, right? Also, for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, we always invite you, as I always do, to invite you to tag on or click on to our YouTube channel. Once you subscribe, how do you do that? You take your mouse and drag it over to where it says subscribe. You see it right there on the page. You click right on it, and it's right there. There's nothing to worry about. Financially, we ask you for nothing. No membership cards, no nothing. If you're over the age of 18, that's good. If you're under the age of 18, even though we're a family show, you might want to have your parents come along with you and watch with you. But we invite everyone in, if that's the case. And of course, tell everyone, and you guys who are watching us on Instagram, Happy New Year to you as well. You don't have to do anything in particular. Just keep on telling everyone about us. Make it a brand new year, a brand new productive year, and help us out here, because when you do that, it does help us out. And of course, who knows? A lot of people may join in and watch and enjoy it just like you. So we want to make sure that you do that. And of course, As I said, we're coming live from New York. That's where we originate. And we just want you to be around and just have fun with us. Now, we got a lot of things to talk about. Now, later on in the program, this is another thing that we do for you guys who are here for the first time. We have a regular routine too. As a matter of fact, in this particular half hour, not too long from now, in just a few minutes from now, we're going to call in Brian Camp to come in for us. You know why? Because Brian Camp has the latest developments in today's world of sports. It's part of his show, and his show is called Sports Update. He'll be here, and there's a lot of sports to talk about, and he'll be here to talk about that. Now, if you have any questions or any kind of sports-related questions to Brian while he's here live, of course, you can ask him, and he'll relay all of the questions. He'll answer the questions as best as he can about sports. And there are a lot of sports coming up too. So that's all coming up here. And so we look forward to that with sports and a lot of other things that are happening as well. Also, later on in the program, we have what you call something that we also do this day in history. We go down the line on this day, January 4th. Something happened on January 4th, way back in the old days. We have that information. We're going to read those off to you. And that's coming up too. And later on in the program, before the show is actually over, I always do this as well. I bring you those great movies, those Turner Classic movies. Those are my picks of the week. And we bring them to you because we want you to add on to your list on what to watch, just in case you're a movie watcher. And of course, you want to just sit back, relax at home after this festive holiday that we had. Now you want to sit back and enjoy some old movies. Well, I'm going to add some of the movies that I have picked out this week for you to add on to your list on what to watch. That's all coming up right here. And it's all right here on Talkback Live. Remember, all of the views and the opinions expressed on the show, Talkback Live, does not necessarily reflect the view or the opinions of the people of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Zoom, or any kind of broadcast publication or social media outlet. So there we got all of that out of the way. And now it's all of us together. We're so glad to have you along with us. Yes, and I'll repeat it again. Happy New Year for those of you I hope you had a great New Year. There were a lot of things going on. I know in New York, of course, we have the traditional ball dropping and a lot of people turned out. There was a crowd out there. Now, I didn't go personally. So I just stayed home and watched it on TV, and there were a lot of people out there. Paul Anka was there performing and a few other people. So if that was one of your things, and if you were one of the visitors coming out of town and you were there, then you know what it was like. I couldn't tell you exactly what it was like because I wasn't there personally, but a big crowd. They showed the crowd. There's a massive crowd out there. And that's the tradition. That's what we have each week when we have these festivities coming along. We celebrate Christmas, and then when the New Year's come around, and that's when we have that big celebration, because that would be the end of it. That would be the end of it all. And there you go. And now we welcome you into the light of a brand new year, 2024. I don't know how you're going to celebrate it or how you're going to use your new year this year, but we'll talk more about that later in case you want to talk about that. And you can talk with us about it too. As I said, anything that you want to talk about, just type it in there and I'll see you right there on the big screen. And if you're watching us, you can do the same thing on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all over. And we want to make it a great new year and a healthy new year for each and every one of us, which gets me to tell you about, and I know you hear about it a lot. I talk about it a lot because I believe in it, but I believe that you ought to take action and be proactive about your health. And one of the things that you can do that is get your shots. Now, the flu season is already here. You already know that. And you should have gotten that a long time ago. So I won't even mention that. If you missed it, well, shame on you. Nevertheless, we still have the updated version of the COVID-19 shots. Now, people are getting on board with that. People are being healthy about it. You see people, even though it's not mandatory, there was no mandation on it just yet. and hopefully they won't be, but people are still wearing their masks. They're going out in public places wearing their mask, whether it's on the subway or the bus, going to the doctor's office. Sometimes the doctor may say, here, we're going to mandate you and you're going to have to wear a mask. And then they have the right to do that because you're talking about people. You have a lot of people in hospitals and different clinics and things like that, and they want to proceed with caution. So it depends, again, how you do it. Now, to get your shot, all you have to do is go to your favorite pharmacist, and they will do the job for you. Now, I don't know, depending on where you live, you may and you may not have to make an appointment. But if you make the appointment, sometimes you may have to do it online. And who knows, maybe if you go there, you can make the appointment right there on the spot. And once you make that appointment, keep that appointment. It's very special. And it's very important to me, as it should be to you, to do that, because we want to see everyone healthy. And part of the new year, as they call resolutions, now, I don't know, a lot of people don't make them, but at least, make on a point to do that. Make sure, just be proactive and make it a point to do that. Take time out and, take your shots and stay updated with them too. A lot of people started from the beginning when we started that pandemic. And I hate to talk about that because that was a nightmare. That was a nightmare for all of us. But people started from the very beginning when the COVID-19 vaccination came out. People were online. People had gone to their pharmacists and made their appointments. So it just went right on in there and got them, And you got to also know that you could take 2 shots at the same time if you haven't taken your flu shot yet. I guess it's not too late, but we're at the light at the end of the tunnel now. So we're looking forward to summer coming around. But nevertheless, if they're still available in your area, you can take both shots at the same time. You can take your flu shot, and of course, you can take your COVID-19 shot at the same time. And that's good news because it's safe. And that's what we want everyone to be. We want everyone to be safe and sound and healthy because that's what it's all about. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we want to thank you for being along with us. And if you're just watching it here just this minute, well, you missed 12 minutes of the show, but we're getting into the meat of the show right now, so you didn't miss that. So I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy, and be part of the conversation as well. Okay, just type in whatever you want to talk about, and by the way, if you have anything in particular that you want to talk about, we're open to that. Anything that happened in the news or something that you want to talk about, whether it's something about you or what you did over the holiday season or whatever you want to talk about, we're open for discussion and we want you to be part of us. Okay, that's the way we operate here. And again, we just want to wish each and every one of you a happy new year. Okay. Now, something, a little news here that we have for you. Maurice Hines, you heard of Maurice Hines. Maurice Hines, the Broadway dancer, choreographer, actor who famously showcased his skills alongside his late younger brother, Gregory Hines, and a Nicholas Brothers-like act featuring on Francis Ford Coppola's Cotton Club. He passed away. Hines died last Friday, of natural causes at the Actors Fund home in Englewood, New Jersey. He was 80 years old. Les McCann, prolific Les McCann, a prolific, influential musician and recording artist who helped found the soul jazz. Well, he passed away as well, and McCann died last Friday as well in his home in Los Angeles, a week after being hospitalized with pneumonia. He was 88 years old. And Shecky Green, the legendary Las Vegas headliner and stand-up comedian who entertained audience for years while battling demons like stage fright and alcoholism and prescription drug abuse and gambling. Well, he passed away too. He passed away Sunday. He died Sunday. Green died on New Year's Eve of natural causes at his home in Las Vegas, and he was 94 years old. God bless them all. had good lives, healthy lives, and we couldn't ask you for anything more. I love the people when they live long like that, and fruitful and successful, you know. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, again, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live, and we're going to be with you for the balance of the show. Of course, every week at this time is always an hour of fun. And of course, we love having you aboard with us, and we want you to stay aboard with us because, again, there are so many great things to talk about. And first of all, the first thing we're going to talk about right now as we get started, we're going to hook up with Brian Camp right now. He's over there in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he's going to come with us and he's going to talk about the wonderful world of sports on a brand new year. And speaking of brand new years, Brian, Happy New Year to you. This is our first show and your first show of the brand new year.
2024, Happy New Year to all. I just want to say, I just saw the sign from Justin, Aloha. That's a Hawaii thing.
Oh, okay.
So I just yeah, so I just want to say hello to Justin. Probably one of your friends and everything, but whenever I see somebody from Hawaii, that's the sign of Hawaii.
Okay.
Polynesian. Yes. So.
Justin.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining. Yes. You just in time. And Happy New Year to you.
Yes. But good evening to you all. Again, Happy New Year to all whoever's listening throughout the world, throughout the nation, throughout locally or in the state. It's 2024, and we just hope that you all had a safe and happy New Year that was brought in. During that time, I missed the late Dick Clark, who used to bring in New Year's, the Dick Clark show for New Year's. Now they got various hosts from every network, and so to bring in the New Year's. But when I think about New Year's coming in, I think about either church coming in from church or Dick Clark. And those are the two people, the two things that I remember most. But it is 39 degrees out here in the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina, where we expect some bad weather coming up this Saturday. But we'll talk about that another time or maybe later on. But it's been cold and it is wintertime. Had a wonderful trip visiting the Big Apple. That's the place that I was born and raised. And I saw a lot of people. I saw family and saw friends and had a nice time, but had to come back home to the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. Even though New York is originally home, it will always be home, but my home now is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Let me get to sports. Well, the college football championship is all set now. It is all set. Coming up January 8th, this coming Monday, it'll be the number one ranked Michigan Wolverines versus the Washington Huskies. That will be for all the marbles, 7:30 on ESPN. Make sure that you tune in. This is for the championship, and we're going to expect a real pretty good game. I'm predicting a pretty good game. We don't want no blowouts. We want a tight, intense game for this coming Monday for the national championship. In the NBA, we talk about sad times and everything during the course of the year, and sometimes I give sports, but here's something that I want to give a pleasant story to tell you all. In the NBA, the Washington Wizards forward Kyle Kuzma is given an incarcerated women, that's women in jail or in prison, you want to say, back to his hometown in Flint, Michigan. He was recognized by the NBA for doing each month that he will go to a CARES Bob Lanier Community Assist Award. That's a player monthly for their outstanding work in the community. Now, Kuzma was named the winner of the award as he hosted an event back on November 26th of 2023. Throughout his that was through his Kyle Kuzma Family Foundation, in which it announced it is aiding women in prison, mothers in the in the Genesee County in Michigan that are jailed, who are beginning the process of re-entering society. The foundation is donating gifts and clothing to mothers and their children. So we always talk about how athletes are overpaid, that they always, not being good role models. And here's a guy who's not even a superstar, but he's taking his time to give his time to women who are in jail, in prison, and he's given these mothers and their children clothing, and food, and gifts, and for their children and everything. So we want to give a shout out to Kyle Kuzma for doing this. It's a beautiful thing, especially during this time of the year when kids are they look forward to gifts and everything during the holidays. So this is something that we have to applaud this man for doing. He's not a he's not a superstar. He's a good player, but he's giving back to the community where he was brought up and raised. So congratulations to him. NFL football is going to cap off this final regular season coming up this Saturday into Sunday, as a lot of teams are fighting for playoff position and some trying to make the playoffs as well. So check your local listings for the teams, your team that might be in the hunt for a playoff berth, and the playoffs will be coming up soon. We will give more details by next week of where they'll be seated at, who's going to be playing who. I can tell you that my Dallas Cowboys are in the playoffs, so you can rest assured that I'm going to be talking about that. This day in sports, January 4th, 1942, Roger Hornsby, 7-time batting champion, selected to the Hall of Fame. 1957, the Brooklyn Dodgers bought a 44-passenger twin-engine plane for $775,000. Can you imagine how much that costs today, right now? Only $775 just for a twin-engine jet plane for them to carry their teams. Back in the older days, they went by buses. They had to take buses and trains to go to the next city or state. The times has changed. In 1957, this happened. 1977, Marv Shane, hired by the Chicago White Sox as the first, I'm sorry. Mary Shane, hired by the Chicago White Sox, the first female play-by-play announcer. Congratulations to her. 1986, Eric Dickerson rushed a postseason record of 248 yards. 1986, David Robinson, NBA player, used to play at the Naval Academy, blocked the NCAA record for 14 shots. That's Bill Russell's and Wilt Chamberlain's status. When they blocked those many shots, those shots wasn't going in, they were being rejected. And in 1992, Robert Parrish is the 5th player in NBA history to block 2,000 shots. And finally, in 2001, Michael Jordan is the 4th NBA player to score 30,000 points. So that's for the history of this day in sports. Birthdays on this day, 1930. Happy birthday to the late great Don Shula, who presently holds the record for most wins as a coach. He's the winningest coach ever in the NFL. Was born in Grand River, Ohio, in 1935. Happy birthday to Floyd Patterson, boxing champ and Olympic gold medal, was born in Waco, North Carolina. 1994, Derrick Henry, NFL running back, who still plays, and a 2015 Heisman Trophy winner, was born in Yulee, Florida. And 2004, happy birthday to Victor Wembanyama, who is the sensational player that's playing for the San Antonio Spurs. He's 19 years old, was just drafted a month or so ago. Is an NBA center, was born in Le Chesnay, France. And ladies and gentlemen, that is sports.
What a beginning. And we've got a lot of things coming up too later on. Before you know it, we'll be in Super Bowl. And
Super Bowl, yeah, coming up in February.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to that. And that won't be too far away because time goes by so quick. I really wish the time wouldn't go by as quick as it does because it makes me that much older.
Well,
But
guess what? When the Super Bowl is going to come to an end, guess what's around the corner? Pitchers and catchers are going to report to spring trainings, and you're going to be seeing a lot of baseball. But during that time, the focus is going to, after the Super Bowl is over, everything is going to shift and focus on the NBA. That's when the NBA is going to be at its highest peak. They're
yeah,
going to be get ready for the playoffs as well. So sports is never a dull time throughout the year when it comes to sports.
we take baby steps. I don't want to push. I said Super Bowl, but like you said, that's not until next month. But I just can't wait. I mean, I guess by the when the New Year's, it's always like when the New Year's have come and gone, and we come to around this time, I always refer to as a light at the end of the tunnel. Now we're in the light of 2024, and I right away I think about summer because that's how I am. That's how
Yeah,
we
that's right.
we got a lot to talk about too. I was just thinking the other day too, Brian. This might interest you too. I have a photo since we were talking about football, and I have a photo uh, of Howard Cosell, uh, Dan. What's Dan's last name? The
You
guy,
mean Don, you mean you're talking about Don Meredith?
Don Meredith and Frank Gifford. And I thought to myself, I said, these three guys. I said, Monday Night Football will never be the same.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the first, and it's the longest prime time. I don't know if you want to connect it to as a show, but it is the longest running primetime event ever in on whether it's entertainment or sports. Uh, it came out, I believe, in 1970. I believe Monday Night Football came out in 1970. So it's been out for a pretty long time. Yeah, I would have to say that's over 50 years.
I guess you can classify it as a show when they did it because they put on a show, the three of them,
Yeah.
even though it was a
Yeah.
sporting event. But they, in their commentary, you could never see them, of course. But they used to put on in their commentaries. They used to put on a show. They did.
Yeah. I mean, you could say Gunsmoke been out for over 20 seasons. Uh, as we've seen the transition from black and white to color of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke came out I believe in the 50s, and I think it ended somewhere around 1973, 74, I believe. James Arnez. Yeah, Gunsmoke.
Yeah. Whose brother is that? James Arnez. That's
That's the brother of the late Peter Graves from Mission Impossible.
that's right. That's right.
Mhm.
A lot of people didn't know that though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they have different names, or sometimes they just don't mention it, even though they're brothers. They just don't mention it because they have their own different they separate careers, and they don't mention it.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
not,
And
not
I and I know you probably talked about this a couple of weeks ago of the late Norman Lear,
yeah.
who passed away. Um, what a genius he was. The spinoffs that he had, and the man took a chance
Mhm.
with shows like All in the Family. Are you kidding? You could not even put a show like All in the Family on today. Not in today's world. But when he had All in the Family in the early 70s, that just opened the doors. And the spinoffs from Maud, from Good Times and the Jeffersons, those are all spinoffs from All in the Family, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And it's just a genius on how television from where it once was to where it is now. So
He took a couple of hits about that though. When All in the Family, he had a lot of hits. He took a couple of hits on that because a lot of people complained about it, and but they just didn't get it. They just didn't get it. They didn't realize that Archie Bunker didn't like anyone. He didn't care. He just didn't like anyone.
he sure did. Yeah, and it was, you know, if some of you old timers who watched the show, he did not discriminate. He got on every race, his
Yeah,
own race as well too, on the series that is and everything, you know.
yeah.
And it was a great series. It's my all time sitcom of all time is All in the Family.
I guess that was Norman Lear's way of saying, we should be able to laugh at ourselves. And I think that's true. I think we should be able to laugh at ourselves every once in a while, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
but like you said, that's you're not going to put that kind of, even though in the reruns, they have the reruns, but it's there's not going to be any remakes of anything like that again.
Never. And they shouldn't. And
Shouldn't.
they shouldn't. Right.
Absolutely not. So, what does it look like for tomorrow? What's on your list for tomorrow?
Tomorrow doesn't look good at all for next Friday and the following Friday because of schedule conflict.
Mhm.
Um, if anything changes at the last second, I will notify you, but I will send in all my information to you. Some good stuff that you're going to read for tomorrow as well too,
Mhm.
with events and birthdays as well. So,
Yeah,
when I send it to you, I'll probably be listening in,
yeah.
but I won't be able to come on live and everything. So when I send it to you, you'll know, and you probably say, "Wow, I forgot about this," or "I did not know about this." So I
Yeah,
do my research.
yeah, well, that's good because I like to go back in time every once in a while. Sometimes I forget about something that I say, "Oh wow, I remember that." That just brought me back. But
Absolutely, yeah.
all right, well then we'll still, no matter what, we'll still cover for you here anyway. It doesn't, there's no problem at all.
Well, thank you so much, and everybody be safe. Justin, I shall speak to you soon.
All right,
Take care.
yeah, Brian. That's Brian Camp, ladies and gentlemen, with the latest developments in today's world of sports. Sports Update. That's the name of his show, and of course, he's here each week at this time. And he comes from Charlotte, North Carolina, as I already told you. Charlotte, North Carolina. That's on the other. He's south. I'm up north here. We broadcast from up north, and we chime in. Technology is a good thing in a way, right? You could talk to people, but then something, we always are able to do that all the time anyway. Talk to people. By means of any source. A split screen TV. Back in the 50s, they did it. So you were always able to do it. It's just now it's improved, and then a lot of things come along, and now everybody's talking about AI, artificial intelligence, that kind of thing. Which, by the way, that's been around for years too, a long time. It's just that a lot of people are up in arms about it, but it's been around a long time. The only difference is that when we did it back in the old days, it was analog, and now everything is digital. And the new equipment and new software is out. And again, it's not a bad thing because a lot of people look at AI as but it depends on how you use it. It depends on how you use it. You can use it on a positive level and it works out. Because hey, you got to remember, the actors, they always use it because AI is always used in the movies. They use them in the movies. They use them in photo shoots for the so-called celebs. They use them in radio, TV. It's just that it should be done properly. But and they just gave it another name. It's been around forever. And when none of you ever heard of AI before anyway. You never heard of it. It's like this is a new thing. It's not a new thing. They just give it new names as the world turns and as we keep going along and keep chugging along in life. Everything is still there, but they just give it a new name. That's basically it. Anyway, we want to thank you for being along with us. Just in case you're just joining us, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live, and we're going to be with you until the top of the hour. We're here each week at this time, and we just want to say hello to all of you guys who are joining. And again, as I always say, you can, wherever you go around the world, it doesn't matter where you are, you could always pick us up. Case in point, Justin is in Hawaii. He's watching us from Hawaii. And so we thank him for being here. So I just proved my point. You know, anywhere in the world, you could watch us. And so that's why we always tell you to tell your friends about us and let them in on the action and let them, of course, you know, be part of the whole idea of it all. So thank you again for being with us. And of course, I think it's about time for us to get started, right? Okay. Get started on what he says. Okay, get started and talk about going back in time on this day in history. For instance, in 1907, George Bernard Shaw played Don Juan in Hell premieres. His play, Don Juan, premieres in London. On this day in history, 1921, Eugene O'Neill, his play, Different, that premiered in New York City. On this day in history, 1923, the first broadcast of the Bond Dance Show was broadcast on WBAP in Fort Worth, Texas. And on this day in history, in 1935, Bob Hope was first heard on the network radio as part of the Intimate Review. On this day in history, in 1944, Ralph Bunche was appointed the first African-American official in the U.S. State Department. On this day in history, in 1947, Park Avenue closes at the Shubert Theater in New York City after 72 performances. On this day in history, in 1947, Showboat closes at the Ziegfeld Theater in New York City after 417 performances. On this day in history, 1953, KTSM TV, Channel 9 in El Paso, Texas, an NBC station starts broadcasting. On this day in history, in 1954, Elvis Presley records his second demo at Sun Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. It wouldn't be the same without you. That was the name of the song. And also, I'll Never Stand in Your Way. On this day in history, 1965, LBJ's Great Society State of the Union address happened. And back in 1970, weekly CBS documentary shows, such as the 12th Century, hosted by Walter Cronkite, that came to an end. Back in 1974, Richard Milhouse Nixon refuses to hand over tapes subpoenaed by the Watergate Committee. On this day in history, in 1982, Brian Gumbel became co-host of NBC's Today Show, and that same year, Chris Wallace becomes co-anchor on Today's Show. In 1995, Newt Gingrich becomes Speaker of the House of the USA. In 2007, the 110th United States Congress convinced and elects Nancy Pelosi as the first female Speaker of the House. On this day in history, in 1919, Al Jazzbo Collins, he was an American disc jockey. He was born in Rochester, New York. He passed away in 1997. Back in 1992, jazz musician Frank West was born on this day in Kansas City, Missouri. He passed away 2013. On this day in history, 1927, actress Barbara Rush was born on this day in Denver, Colorado. She's now 97 years old. In 1930, actor Sorrell Book, he played Boss Hogg on Dukes of Hazzard, remember? He was born in Buffalo, New York, and he passed away in 1994. And in 1937, actress Diane Cannon was born in Tacoma, Washington. Tacoma, Washington. She's 77 years old today. Happy birthday to her. In 1946, soul singer Arthur Connolly, who did the big hit back in the 60s called Sweet Soul Music, was born in McIntosh County, Georgia. He passed away in 2003. On this day in history, in 1926, American songwriter Irving Berlin weds heiress and writer Ellen McKay. In 1997, Dick Smothers of the Smothers Brothers weds Denby Franklin in Las Vegas. In 2004, Britney Spears has her surprise marriage annulled less than 55 hours after tying the knot with her childhood sweetheart and her childhood friend, Jason Alexander, at the Little White Chapel in Las Vegas. In 1995, actress Dorothy Granger dies at the age of 80 years old. In 2001, band leader Les Brown dies at the age of 88 years old. In 2011, singer Jerry Rafferty, Scottish singer, and you remember he was born. Well, actually, this is when he passed away. He passed away at the age of 63 years old. Jerry Rafferty was the one that had the big hit in the 1980s, late 70s, 80s, called Baker Street. And finally, 2021, actress Tanya Roberts of Charlie Angels, and she also played on that 70s show. She died at the age of 71 years old, and that's this day in history. And if you have anything that you know that happened on this day in history that I didn't mention, of course, you're free to let us know. All you have to do is let your fingers do the walking, right? On your keyboard, type in. And again, anything that you want to talk about, you can type in as well, and we'll talk about it. But if you want to give us that information, please, let's do that. And I want to say hello to Barbara. Barbara, how are you? Barbara coming out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Barbara, I haven't been to Vegas in like 9-10 years. I think it's about time for me to do that. It's time for me to get started, get back in the action there. It's been a long time, but I do look forward to going back out there again. And I'm pretty sure it changed a lot, just like it changed in New York. The pandemic changed a lot of things in a lot of places. People go different places and they go back, and it's not the same. Not saying it's bad, but it's certainly not the same. But Barbara would know better because she lives there. So Barbara, thank you so much for being with us. And for the rest of you guys, if you're out there as well, please tell your family and friends, all you guys who are watching us on Facebook, you want to get a chance. And I would really appreciate if you tag your friends, or if not all, at least some of them, and let them know that we're out here. And when you tag them, what happens, they'll see that and they'll click onto it, and it brings them directly to us where we are. And we really would appreciate that. Now, for all of you who are watching us on YouTube, which is a good thing too, but while you're at it, get a chance, please, with a cherry on top, subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right. Subscribe to that. All you have to do is drag your mouse over there where it says subscribe, click onto it. It doesn't cost you anything, no money. You don't have to have a union card, or you have to have a doctor's note or anything like that. But if you're 18 years or over, that would be great. If you're under 18, make sure that your parents, even though this is a family show, right? We don't do anything embarrassing or anything, but just for the sake of that, if you're under 18, you want to, of course, bring your parents along with you, right? That's fair. That's fair. And for the rest of you guys who are watching us on Instagram, we thank you so much for being along. You don't have to do anything in particular. The only thing that you have to do is just keep the word spreading each week and let us know where you are and what you're doing out there. And that would be great, because this is a brand new year now, and we want to do things differently. We want to try to make it a better year for all of us, because we can. And I know a lot of you out there wondering, what is it going to be like for this coming year? God only knows, but too, because you're going to make it what you want it to be, right? You make your year what you want it to be. And listen, if you would like to get in touch with me personally, I have two sources how you can do that. And it's very simple. I have an email address and a telephone number that I'm going to pass along to you right now. And you can do that right away. Let me give you the email address first of all. The email address is Frank Allan Prod. Now spell Allan, A-L-L-A-N. Don't make that mistake and say E-N or I-N or Y-N or whatever like that, because you'll never get in touch with me. It's very important because, most people at the age that have last name Allan, right away, and people do that with me. They send me notes or whatever, they always say E-N. E-N, I'm sorry to disappoint you, and I'm sorry to break tradition, but it's spelled A-N, A-L-L-A-N. And Prod is P-R-O-D. That's Frank Allan Prod at AOL.com. That's Frank Allan Prod at AOL.com. Now, my telephone number is 641-715-3900, extension 467134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467134. Now, you may want to get in touch with me for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. Some people want to come in and just say, hi, I saw you, but I just want to say hi. I don't want to go out and talk because I'm shy or anything like that, but that's okay too. And some people will say, I just have an idea for your show. Maybe you could take this at heart and maybe do this, or maybe you want to have a guest on your show. I'd like to see someone there that you could talk to, and maybe whatever, I listen to it. Or you want to critique, that's okay. We critique to your heart's content. You know why? Because a lot of people think, he's thin-skinned. I'm not thin-skinned. As a matter of fact, I welcome, as long as you're diplomatic about it, that's good. But I do welcome criticism, and I'll tell you why, because it helps out. If it's constructive criticism, anything that people, criticize you for, you're gonna wanna know why. You're gonna ask. But if it's constructive criticism, no problem. We take it to heart. We listen to you, and we make the improvements for whatever it is. Now, if you're looking for a new host for the show, and I don't know if I can help you with that, you're stuck with me. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. The only thing I can tell you is this: if I just take the show off completely, and then you don't have to worry about it. But I don't want to do that. You know why? Because I like being with you guys. I love it. And that's like the highlight of my week when I do this show and do the tomorrow morning show, the coffee hour. It's a therapy. It's great. It's fantastic. It's like fun and games, even though it's not fun and games, this is like a serious thing to do, everyone, but whatever, But anyway, you can get in touch with me anytime you want. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That means we never sleep. Well, I sleep once in a while, I got to get my shut eye every once in a while. And of course you sleep too. But it's good to know that even if you wake up in the middle of the night and you have insomnia, and maybe it's the only time you can do it, or you work a late night gig overnight or something like that, fine, but get in touch with me. I'll give you the email address once again, frankallenprod@aol.com. That's frankallenprod@aol.com. Telephone number once again is 641-715-3900, extension 467134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467134. I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. You already heard about in Japan, right? Which there's a lot of people that watch us out there. You already heard about what happened out there. They had an earthquake out there. And this was like after the new year, right? They had an earthquake there. And also, not only did they have the earthquake, but you heard about what happened in the airport. There was a collision, two planes collided, and it engulfed a lot of flames and fire. And, that's not my idea of a good way to start a brand new year. And I'm pretty sure the people who live in China thought the same thing too. I have a friend in China that I immediately got in touch with, and I called up, just to find out if they were okay, if him and his wife were okay. And I was just glad to hear from him. And so he's okay. And he told me about, while he was in his house, the earthquake came about, and he thought that they were going to have the big one. I don't know how much damage they did, but I know there was a lot of damage at that airport. And so he's doing fine. And I hope the rest of you if you're watching from Japan, I hope that everything is okay for you. I'm watching on the news too. I see a lot of people lost their homes, and these things happen. I know out in Hawaii, Justin watching out in Hawaii, they have their shakes of volcano and all of that. There's a lot of things going on there. And speaking of earthquakes, the same time that the Japan had the earthquake, we had an earthquake here in New York the other day. Now, this happened I think just before 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. I'm an early bird. I wake up real early in the morning, regardless of, even if I'm not doing anything. That's my clock. My clock inside my body says it's time to get up. It's 5 a.m. time to get up. I get up before the roosters. But anyway, I didn't. It didn't reach it. I was told that the earthquake was on. If you're familiar with New York, those of you who live here in New York, or those of you who are familiar with New York, who come here as tourists, and then you know about Roosevelt Island, right? So that's where the earthquake took place. But I was told it was also felt in Manhattan, in New York City. Uh, so I didn't feel anything. I don't know for about the outer boroughs. I don't know if anything took place out there, but yeah, we had a slight earthquake. No one was hurt. Everybody was safe. And I think it lasted for about a minute. Because I remember the last tremor that we had here in New York, I felt that, and I never forget it. I'm at my computer, and all of a sudden everything is shaking, you know. So earthquakes can happen anywhere. They usually equated with California. Now, California, they have their earthquakes, but the people in California who live in California, you know, it's like nothing to them, you know. And the structures they're building, their buildings and their bridges are structured in a way where when a tremor comes around, the building shakes or the bridge shake, but it's designed that way. You see, if we ever get anything like that here in New York, especially if we got a big one, we're screwed. We're gone. We're goners. We're all goners because we're surrounded by all of these buildings, all of these high risers, and we're surrounded by all of those. And if we ever get the big one over here, we're goners. But in California, they hold their own over there. They, you know, yeah, I've as many times as I've been to California, I've never experienced an earthquake in California. Lucky me. Keep my fingers crossed that I never will have to. But yeah, they're prepared over there. They're structurally prepared. And like you talk to people in California who live there, and they say, "Oh, we had an earthquake. Ha 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 ha! Oh, big deal." No, it's like no big deal because they're used to it. You know, God, if someone went out there that doesn't live in California, they probably get shaken up. But anyway, to get back to the people in Japan, I'm glad that most people are okay. A lot of people, unfortunately, lost their homes and lost some of their belongings. And so we're really sorry to hear about that. But prayers go out to you guys. You know, we love you. And I'm just glad my friend from Japan was okay. Him and his family are okay. And now that we're here in the light of 2024, right? We're at the light of 2024, the beginning of everything. And this is the time where a lot of people make resolutions. I'm not one to do so because I never keep them anyway, but I can tell you this. I am the thing that I do each year, and I want you guys to follow me on this because we can make it a better world when you do that. You know, there's a lot of people, they go around with chips on their shoulder. They had a chip on their shoulder when the old year went out in 2023, and they came into the brand new year with a chip on your shoulder. You don't want that, right? That makes you ill. It makes you physically ill. You know, you don't want that. But if you want to follow me on this, I really would appreciate that. If you can do something positive, you know, like it doesn't cost you anything to see a person. If you pass on the street, just say hi or smile. And if they don't give you the love back, then that's on them. Because as long as you can say that I sleep good at night, that's all it takes. You give out the love. If you don't get it back, you know, don't take it personally, because sometimes a lot of people don't want to do it for whatever reason, you know, but it's okay by me, you know. But that's one of the things I want you guys to do, just to make the world better, because we've got a lot of things coming up in 2024, and we have to brace ourselves for this. So in the meantime, we want to think positive at this particular time, because the negatives, it's no question about it. The negatives are coming our way, you know. And what I like to do basically on the New Year's is I always reflect back. What happened 2023? What happened that held me back, or this thing wasn't good for me, or this person that I was associating with, you know, I dump it, you know, because you don't want to bring it into a brand new year. So I'm looking forward to a brand new year, good year, even though I'm setting myself up for a lot of things that are about to come. And there are a lot of things about to come, but I don't want to talk negative today or or tomorrow. I just want to talk positive, and you can do the same thing too. I want to tell you about those movies, ladies and gentlemen, that I always keep you guys in mind each week, right? I select some movies. Now, you're familiar with Turner Classic, right? Now, I always select movies from Turner Classic because I know you guys like those classic movies as I do, right? And what I do is that just in case you may be one of the kind of people who say, hey, something, this New Year thing was like tough. So now I'm going to relax. And this weekend, I'm going to spend time and I'm going to just watch movies. So I have some movies that I want you to add to your bucket list of what to watch this weekend in case and even if you don't have any plans on watching any movies, just listen to them anyway, because they may be good. Let's start off right here. Let's go back to 1960. 1960. The Apartment. This is a classic movie. The Apartment, starring Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine, and Fred MacMurray. And she has a part in that movie towards the end when she says, out with the old, ring out the old, ring in the new, ring a ding ding. That's how I usually do that too. Anyway, that's on Friday, and that's at 10 p.m. Eastern on Turner Classic Movies. So that's The Apartment. It's a great movie. I like that. It's a black and white movie. I love those black and white movies, And on Sunday, a Sunday in New York, but this happens to come on Saturday. Sunday in New York, 1963, starring Cliff Robinson, Jane Fonda, and Rod Taylor. That's on Turner Classic Movies. That's on Saturday. It would be nice if it was put on a Sunday. It would gel together, right? And Saturday at 2 a.m. Now that's your sleeping time, or sometimes you could be up. But listen, if you can't watch it in real time, you could always DVR it and watch it at your own convenience. Technology put us that way. All right, you could watch it easily. A long time ago, if you miss something, you say, oh gosh, oh gee, oh golly, But now you could just, if you know it's coming on, you could set your DVR for it and then watch it at a later time. Again, that's New York, Sunday in New York. And we have another one. I love music. I love rock and roll. I love all that kind of movie. Here's another one called Eddie and the Cruisers. Let's go back to 1983. Eddie and the Cruisers, starring Tom Berenger and Ellen Barkin. And that's on Turner Classic Movies. You can catch that Sunday at 4 a.m. Eastern. There you go. It's early in the morning, 4 a.m. I'm still asleep. I'm trying to get some sleep because I got to get up for church in the morning. That's what you're saying, right? Okay. Again, DVR it, watch it when you come back home or whenever, and they're good movies. And once you go to Turner Classic Movies, you can check out other movies that I didn't mention because they may be other movies there. Not that I don't like them. It's just that these are my picks of the week. You can go there and check them out. They may be more to your liking, and you can check that out as well. And you can go on Movie on Demand. There's a lot of movies, old and new. You have the old movies, and then you have the movies that are in the theaters right now that you have to pay a little bit more. That's called pay-per-view, right? And then you have the movies that were just in the movie theaters. And again, it's cost less than the ones that are in the theater now. But you get the idea. And then there are a lot of great kiddie shows and documentaries and sporting events. It's all right there on your cable TV if you have cable. Some people don't have cable, so they use their Fire Stick and they want to do Amazon and all of those other things, right? Cable is, it's almost a thing of the past, cable. A lot of people drop their cable. I don't know. Did you drop your cable? I don't know. Anyway, let me repeat these movies once again so you'll have them. This is the great movies. Once again, I'll go through it right quick. It's called The Apartment. Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine, and Fred MacMurray. That's Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern. And you have Sunday in New York. That's Cliff Robinson, Jane Fonda, and Rod Taylor. That's Saturday at 2 a.m. Eastern on Turner Classic. And then there's Eddie and the Cruisers. And that's starring Tom Berenger and Ellen Barkin. That's Sunday at 4 a.m. Eastern, and it's all right there on Turner Classic Movies. I hope you get a chance to watch all of these movies. They're great movies, and I think you'll like them. Okay, that's going to end it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I had a good time as usual, and I hope you did too. I'm going to come back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. It's 10 a.m. Eastern, and that's called the Coffee Hour. Brian told you that he wasn't going to be here tomorrow, so we're going to cover for him with the sports and all of that. That'll be here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And I hope that you will be here too. But you can meet us back here as well next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern for more of Talk Back Live. Brian Camp, of course, will be here. He's always here. And he'll bring you the latest developments in today's world of sports, yada, yada, yada. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. I hope you had a good time. And then I just want to bid you guys a happy new year. Welcome back to the light, right, of 2024. Okay? Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and above all, good night to each and every one of you. Take care. See you soon.
You've been watching Talk Back Live with your host Frank Allan. The producer is Al Dale. Technical assistant Dave Taylor. Research by Sandy Pierce. And I'm your announcer Donna Stenke. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Talk Back Live.